Good evening. My name is Laurie Milheiser, and I am the chair of the Montclair Community Activities Commission and one of your hosts for this event tonight. On behalf of our members, I want to welcome you here tonight for the 2018 General Municipal Election City Council Candidates Forum. The purpose of tonight's event is to help you be more informed about the candidates who are running for the City Council seats. Before we start this evening, I would like to introduce our Community Activities Commissioners. Vice Chair Arturo Padilla, I don't think I've seen Arturo yet. Rosa Rangel in the back. Darlene Ferraro, Alex Hernandez, Chris Paez, and Diane Wells. If you have a question you would like to ask the candidates, please raise your hand and one of our commissioners will be happy to give you a question card and then come and retrieve it from you and bring it up here for us. The forum will be organized and structured, and to help us moderate tonight, it is my pleasure to introduce the board chairman for the Montclair Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Tim Walborn. Yay. Tim is a lifelong area resident, attended Chaffey High School and Cal Poly Pomona. He's currently the branch director for the Youth and Family branch of the West End YMCA. Tim has been serving the communities of Montclair and Ontario for over 10 years. He's currently a member of and is the immediate past president of the Ontario Rotary Club. Tim, thank you for being here this evening to serve as our moderator again, and the program is yours.
Very good. Thank you, Laurie. On behalf of the Montclair Chamber, I'd like to welcome you tonight. Thank you for attending. The candidates, thank you for coming. And at this point, I would like to introduce Chris Paez from the Community Activities Commission, and he will lead us in tonight's flag salute. Please stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you, Chris. Okay. I will be moderating 3 segments of the forum tonight. Candidates will make an opening statement, followed by a question and answer period, and concluding with closing statements. All segments will be timed by our timekeeper, Community Activities Commissioner Chris. The forum will be taped and will air on the Government Access Channel, which is Channel 3, various days and times prior to the election. For your convenience, a flyer with air dates and times is available on the campaign literature table, which is located between the 2 exit doors on the west side. The forum can also be accessed on the city's website and Facebook page and the YouTube channel. All these viewing options will be available after October 22nd, 2018. As you can see, all of the candidates are seated on the stage. The seating arrangement for the candidates this evening was determined by a random drawing earlier. For opening statements, the rotation will be from east to west or from left to right. For closing statements, the rotation will be from west to east or from the right side to the left side. During the question and answer period, the rotation will be from east to west, beginning with one person to the west each new question. So at the start of the questions rotate, so everybody gets a chance to go first. Each candidate will have the opportunity to make a 3-minute opening statement. The structure and content of that opening statement are at the discretion of the candidate. A typical opening statement may include the following: candidate's qualifications, why a candidate regards themselves as the best leadership choice for the office, issues important to the candidate, and visionary comments regarding the candidate's outlook for Montclair. Candidates may wish to highlight their public service to the community and make observations regarding the need to maintain the status quo, or may want to make observations regarding their perceived need to change the established order. Each candidate will be advised when his opening statement is approaching the time limit and when their time is over. Each candidate should make concluding comments when the 1-minute remaining sign is held up. After the completion of all opening statements, candidates will respond to written questions from the audience. Questions may be addressed to the candidates in writing only. Members of the audience will have the opportunity to prepare questions during the opening comment section of the program. Representatives of the Montclair Community Commission will collect those questions. Questions will be reviewed for the purpose and appropriateness to eliminate any duplication. Acceptable questions are those that have to do with the candidate's qualifications, experience, character, integrity, and honesty, and as they relate to the role and duties of being a city council member. As the moderator, I will address all questions to the candidates. So if you do have questions, please, you can raise your hand and somebody will come by around and collect them. If you don't have a blue card, those are available as well. I will present the questions to the candidates in the following manner. 1, questions of general interest and concern will be presented to all of the candidates. Or 2, general questions will be randomly selected and or can be directed toward a specific candidate. And 3, questions that have been submitted for a specific candidate may be selected and asked of that candidate. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond. This is the process designed for this forum, and there's no deviation from that format. Following the question and answer period, each candidate will have the opportunity to make a 3-minute closing statement. The structure and content of closing statements are at the discretion of each candidate. A typical closing statement may include the following: rebuttal of comments, re-emphasis of a previous discussion, and the responsibility to vote. Each candidate will be advised when their closing statement is approaching the 1-minute mark. The candidate should then make concluding comments. Okay, with all the niceties out of the way, we are ready to begin this evening, and we will begin with a 3-minute opening statement from Michelle Henry. You may begin.
Okay, hi, good evening. My name is Michelle Henry, and I am a over 20-year resident here in Montclair. I am a paralegal, and it's been suggested to me that I'll probably make a good council member candidate, and it was asked of me to run, so that's what I'm here to do for the city, for the people in the city of Montclair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rue, you may begin.
Good evening, and I do want to thank the Community Activities Commission for hosting this forum this evening. I am Bill Rue, and I'm running for re-election to the Montclair City Council to continue the progress which we have made. Progress which is seeing a revitalized Montclair Plaza, now known as Montclair Place. Progress which is bringing in a new movie theater, new concert venue, new entertainment, and new sporting opportunities. Progress which is ensuring a college education for our youth with our Montclair College program, and progress which has reduced crime in our community. I will continue our prudent and solid financial management, which has made Montclair a shining star among California cities, as we were among the first to create a multi-tiered pension system, stabilizing our finances. I will continue our award-winning community collaborative and Por La Vida programs, empowering our residents to a better life. These successes are simply a prologue for our future, a future which will see the Gold Line completed to Montclair, where I have been a leading champion, working alongside Assemblymember Freddie Rodriguez, Senator Connie Leyva, Congressmember Norma Torres, and as a voting member of the Gold Line JPA, I am ensuring that the Gold Line will get to Montclair and enable our residents to expand their opportunities. A future where Montclair is a destination for arts, entertainment, sports, restaurants, and retail. A future that is bright with improvements to our streetscape, our sidewalks, landscaping, as well as street and facade improvements. During this campaign, I've walked more than 3,500 homes in this community, and I've heard about the need for jobs. I will continue to work with labor and business, the public sector, and the private sector to find ways to lure in jobs which pay well, provide families with the opportunity to earn a decent living. In short, I pledge prudent financial decisions and effective planning to reduce our costs, open and transparent communication with outreach to all groups and neighborhoods, seeking new sources of city revenue and job opportunities for our families with youth, senior, and community programs for all of our residents, police and fire services which keep our families, businesses, and residents safe. These are the principles which have always guided my commitment to this community, and they will continue to do so in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rue. Ms. Roscoe, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, community, family, and friends. Thank you for coming tonight. I am Julietta Roscoe. I'm running for City Council because the people of Montclair are calling for change. Change evident in stronger leadership and a government that works for the people and businesses of Montclair. It is the change that has fueled my announcement for candidacy in Montclair City Council. The city of Montclair has been my home for over 18 years, where my husband of 33 years and I have raised our 4 boys. We also have an 11-year-old granddaughter. I have worked for the Ontario Montclair School District for 17 plus years. I manage the payroll and the benefit department for over 3,000 employees. I have held elected positions for the CSEA Chapter 108 as a treasurer and vice president. I hold a criminal justice degree, a bachelor's in criminal justice, a master's in management, and currently I'm a doctoral candidate and I'm working on completing my dissertation. I am asking for your vote because we need new city council leadership that is interested in improving the quality of life for all. While our neighboring cities flourish, Montclair remains a step behind on public safety, road maintenance, and economic prosperity. As your councilwoman, I intend to help change that. I will collaborate with the community on establishing goals and discovering ways to move our city forward on issuing concerns with the following: Montclair business environment, incentives for new businesses, sustainability for business and to stay with improving the relationship with the city, community development, utilize open fields, empty buildings, and develop businesses, safer schools, streets, and neighborhoods, crossing guards, lights, stop signs where there is heavy traffic to keep students and community members safe. With law enforcement and fire department, ensure their pay is comparable to our surrounding cities. We are losing qualified police officers and firefighters who are important members of our community because we do not value them enough. I will continue to strive to serve my home, Montclair, by working on the issues that improve the quality of life for people throughout our great city. I will bring a common sense approach to problem solving and intend to make a community part of the changes. With positive intentions and contributions, we can work together to ensure our taxpayer dollars are not spent on and benefit all residents. But I can't do it alone. I need your vote, and together we can change that we want to see in Montclair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Orozco. Mr. Lopez, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Fellow Montclair residents, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Benjamin Lopez. I'm running for city council as well. I'm one of only 2 up here that can say that we're lifetime residents of the city. I'm a small businessman, a former county commissioner, and a Little League coach. I have over 25 years of involvement in our city, serving and giving back to the community that I've called home for 42 years. This is the city that I grew up in, the city I learned how to play ball through Montclair Little League. I have deep roots in this city that go back 4 generations, even before Montclair was a city. Our family used to live on what was Monte Vista Avenue, still remains today, before the city was called Monte Vista Avenue, Monte Vista rather. Proud to say that every generation in our family has at least one that has served in the military, and outside these walls is a plaque of my grandfather, who was a longtime Montclair resident and a Korean War veteran. Like many of our residents, I am middle class. Like many, I share some of the hardships making ends meet. Times are still tough for our residents and some. I know how important city programs are for our seniors, our youth, and working families. Members of my own family are on limited retired income, so this hits close to home. That's why I support and will not cut senior health or meal programs in the city. I know how crucial all programs are, from the Healthy Montclair program, Montclair After School program, Youth Center, Little League and soccer programs, Montclair to College, Senior Nutrition Program, Golden Express busing for seniors, Meals on Wheels. As a matter of fact, in 2017, I publicly opposed President Trump's cut to Meals on Wheels because it would have affected over 300 residents in this city. My involvement in Montclair goes back to when I was 13, and as I stated, I'm 42 years old today, and I'm asking for the opportunity for you to consider me as your next councilman here in the city of Montclair. I see I'm running a little bit out of time. We're getting close there No? Good? Okay. That's great. I've helped serve the needy here in Montclair. We've sponsored Families in Need. We've sponsored Foster Children for Christmas. We've sponsored our city jamboree events. We sponsored our fire department pancake breakfast, which raised money for cancer research. We sponsored our Montclair High Girls softball team and even Little League. Real quickly, and we'll go into this in greater detail, but if elected, I pledge, one, to support the council's efforts regarding the Gold Line to making sure that it's brought to Montclair. We'll support business, which means more jobs for our residents and those in the surrounding communities. We'll support programs to stop gangs and graffiti. We'll strengthen our police and fire department that keep us safe, and I pledge no more additional cuts to those two departments. Keep our current youth, low-income, and senior programs intact, and finally, keep local taxes and fees low for hardworking families of Montclair. I'm Ben Lopez. I kindly ask for your vote this November 6th.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Ms. Martinez, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Walber. Thank you, Chris Paez, and also Ms. Milheiser for being here tonight. Thank you to the audience for taking time out of your busy schedules. My name is Trish Martinez, and I am running for Montclair City Council re-election because my work's just not done yet. I love Montclair, and I have a vision. I have a vision of continuing the progress that this wonderful city has already began. Being cognizant of a balanced budget and remaining steadfast in that progress that I just mentioned throughout this beautiful city, I remain committed to public safety. I want access to educational opportunity for all, economic growth, and providing quality community services. As a wife, a mother of 2 daughters, a resident for over 27 years, I too want what is best for this city. My community volunteerism includes, but is not limited to, over 12 years at the Senior Center Nutrition Program, community liaison in Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church and School, business relations to the Chamber of Commerce, and member of the Women's Club of Montclair, which helps numerous charitable causes. And as your council member, I am currently assigned to Human Services, which oversees the Youth Center, community activities, and the Senior Center, the Chamber of Commerce, and education. And in fact, education wasn't assigned to any council person when I began 4 years ago. I fought for it, and not only did I fight and win to have it assigned to me, but since I've gained the respect and endorsement of the president of both OMSD and the Chaffee Joint Unified School District, and I was named Alumni of the Year from Chaffee College, 2015. I'm very proud to have worked with Congresswoman Norma Torres, State Senator Connie Leyva, and Assemblymember Freddie Rodriguez on several projects, bringing the Metro Gold Line to Montclair, active shooter training and response in our schools, and teaching our youth, our future leaders, the importance of civic engagement. In just my very short-term, one-term tenure, I have gained the unanimous endorsement of my colleagues, my current council, many distinguished dignitaries throughout the community, mayors and council members. The police and fire have endorsed me.
Yep, time is over. Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Okay, this first round of questioning will begin with Mrs. Henry. You have 2 minutes, and the question is, what is the single most important issue the city needs to be concerned with?
Okay, and the single most important issue that the city of Montclair should be concerned with is the residents' concerns about the safety of children going and coming from school, so far as with traffic speeding down residential blocks. Some are concerned, certain particular street Camelots. There's a lot of traffic in the morning. A lot of parents take that as a shortcut to take their children to the high school. And there's a concern for speed bumps to be put there because there are no sidewalks there. And so there is a concern with some of the residents there. And I support the Gold Line, but I am hearing some residents having concern about that, as like, where is it gonna go through? So, but I do support that. And as I said, with safety with the children, crossing more maybe signal lights. We need down by the high school area where there is a lot of traffic in the early mornings. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rue, what is the single most important issue the city needs to be concerned with? You have 2 minutes.
There are many issues the city needs to be concerned with, but I would say the single most important issue is the budget. If you don't have a balanced budget, you're not able to provide first-rate public service. You're not able to provide first-rate community services, parks and recreation services. You're not able to provide all of the things a resident expects. We as a city have been very fortunate to balance our budget and to have some very healthy reserves which will carry us through if there's another recession. And trust me, California, as every city knows, goes through ups and downs with a recession. In order to look at the budget out into the future, we're going to have to deal with our public employee retirement system. It's no secret that at every city across the state, we have to get our arms around it. One of the things I would propose would be to create a public employee retirement system bond. The bond would help us to pay down our obligations, and it would allow us to pay them back in smaller increments over about a 30-year period in time. That is the biggest issue in any budget that is facing not just Montclair, but every single city in California. So as far as a priority, if you want public safety, if you want community services, if you want all the programs you expect, we have to have a solid and balanced budget and bring in the revenue for it every year. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Orozco, what is the single most important issue the city needs to be concerned with? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I really can't say that there's one single thing. I can pick 3 on the top of my list, and I think that the Montclair businesses around us, the environment, and that gives us revenue, which would help with the budget. And the community development, which the revenue will help build and develop our city. With that going in hand, the safety, schools, streets, and neighborhood. With all of these combined, I think those are the most important things that we should look at for our future of the residents of Montclair. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez, what is the single most important issue the city needs to be concerned with? You have 2 minutes.
I honestly can't say that there's a single most important issue, because I do agree that there's probably the top 2, top 3. But I have always stated that the first and only legitimate object of government, as Thomas Jefferson said, is the safety of its citizens, and with that goes public safety. And I'm proud to say that I too have been endorsed by the Montclair Police Officers Association and the San Bernardino County Firefighters Local 935, and I thank them for their support and their trust in me. And you know, 2 years ago I was bringing these issues regarding public safety and was hoping to get them addressed. The Daily Bulletin endorsed me 2 years ago with that same hope of getting those public safety concerns addressed. And here we are 2 years later, and I would still say that those issues are still abound with respect to police and fire, where we have units that are not in full operational capacity. We have staffing cuts over the last 10 years. We have pay cuts to public safety within the last 10 years. We have staffing levels that have dropped. And yet we have state laws and ballot measures that were passed that were allowing criminals to be released early. So we have less cops, asking them to do more with less, including fire, but yet we have one hand tied behind their back. So let's get that addressed, so that way, one, the budget is sound. I will agree that the budget is sound. The current council and the staff have done a great job with respect to the budget. I'm not worried about that. I think we have healthy reserves from which, if we had to, we can pull from. But let's get public safety addressed, and from that, we would then have everything else would fall into line, and that's my position with respect to the question.
Very good. Thank you. Ms. Martinez, what is the single most important issue the city needs to be concerned with? You have 2 minutes.
Very simple, CalPERS. That's my answer. We need to figure out and be vigilant, a plan that will offset the costs of these ridiculous increases in order for us to next look at those other issues.
Okay.
That's it. It's my answer.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this next round begins with you, Mr. Rue, and you kind of all alluded to this, but how do you propose the city continue maintaining and enhancing public services while simultaneously maintaining a balanced budget? You have 2 minutes.
The question is, how do we maintain healthy public safety
Correct. How do you maintain and enhance public services
and while
maintaining a balanced budget?
I think when we look at our budget, we look at our public safety, we have to look at what makes sense and make sure we right size for our community. We need to view that everything a city does is public safety. If a tree isn't trimmed correctly and it falls on somebody, that's a public safety issue. If somebody's walking in a park, trips in a hole, that's a public safety issue. We dedicate the vast majority of our budget to public safety in the sense of police and fire. We have very, very good police and fire. We will continue to dedicate money to police and fire. There are some who will tell you that perhaps we need a transactions and use tax dedicated for police and fire. If that's their view, then we would need to go to a ballot measure with that. That would be raising taxes on residents, so it's up to them to do that. But that's something that's been put out there, transaction and use tax, which would be dedicated just to police and fire. But at the same time, we need to look at the holistic sense of public safety, that everything we do revolves around public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Orozco, how do you propose the city continue and maintain enhancing public services while simultaneously maintaining a balanced budget?
Well, I would say that we would communicate with each other. We would ask for data, research what has worked, what hasn't worked, with the fire, with the police department, with the safety of the community. Keep Montclair dollars in Montclair, develop more to receive more revenue, develop more businesses to all the other empty lots, all the empty buildings throughout Montclair. There are experts that handle the budget and are responsible to keep our city solvent and to ensure that it is fiscally prepared for the next 3 years. And I look at it as a school district. We always look and do a multi-projection for 3 years. We need to make sure that we're solvent. So that's what I would propose, is to make sure that we're solvent. Look at everything else surrounding what we have done in the past. Think of new ideas and make sure that we follow them and we are held accountable for those implementations. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez, how do you propose the city continue maintaining and enhancing public services while simultaneously maintaining a balanced budget?
There's a variety of ways. One, I've been a big advocate of the city annexing the southern portions of the city, the county areas, before they go to Chino. Chino is aggressively trying to annex the northern part of their, north of their borders. It'd be our southern end of our borders. If we annex those properties, we would get increased property taxes annually from those properties that are brought in. In addition to that, we need to maximize development that actually maximizes the property values of those developments. And I'm very much in favor of developing any property that is that fits any zoning or any regional planning in the particular pocket of town. Let's maximize the best development that fits that need. I'm getting tongue-tied too. Fits the need and brings in the property tax values. Thank you. But in addition to that, you know, I do consulting for a grant writing firm, and they find federal and state dollars that are just not being used and taken up by many agencies such as cities. We have Rialto, we have school boards in the area that are literally getting millions of dollars to fund their shortfalls. So let's take a proactive approach to getting grants to fund our shortfalls, because it's free money for the taking out there. And I can attest to the fact that many agencies in our surrounding communities have taken advantage of those monies, and they've been given checks to fund many of their needs and priorities that they are striving to meet. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Martinez, how do you propose the city continue maintaining and enhancing public services while simultaneously maintaining a balanced budget?
I am so glad you asked that question. It gives me the opportunity to elaborate on the last question. One of those very lucrative opportunities that we have is, without violating any Brown Act, is perhaps to consider the legalization of cannabis. That is, right now we have an enormous black market out there, and it's costing us a lot of money to shut these places down just for them to open back up again, where we could be actually getting the taxes from these businesses, and it would help to keep us above the water in these in the budget arena, and it also allows us to provide competitive salaries for our police and fire and our other employees as well, from the top all the way down. But right now we have to be very careful with the budget, and in order to provide more to our employees, we have to make sure that our we're not cutting services to do so. And so we can do that if we know that the income is coming in from something like the legalization of the cannabis.
Done? Okay, thank you. Ms. Henry, how do you propose the city continue maintaining and enhancing public services while simultaneously maintaining a balanced budget?
Well, yes, I do agree that it was come from different corporations that are interested in doing business here in the city of Montclair. Whatever taxes that they're paying could go to continue to help us thrive, and that would be, as I said, new businesses, especially big main corporations that are interested in coming here, and if marijuana is a part of it as well. I know that there are concerns about that as the traffic through the city, different strangers coming through the cities, but that maybe can be dealt with on the outskirts of Montclair, where it's not in the intercity, maybe just on the corners of the city, if that is what some may want. That basically is how I would see it, is to have the businesses pay their fair shares of taxes, their fair shares of taxes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I was going to go to individual questions, but because the issue already came up, we did have a question submitted. And this will begin with Ms. Orozco. How do you feel about marijuana dispensaries? If you support them, how do you plan to regulate them? And you have 2 minutes.
Well, the pot dispensaries, it is inevitable that they're here. The law passed. There was a law on the ballot. It passed. It is important to be proactive instead of reactive. So we need to bring, if they're going to come into the city of Montclair, we need to regulate, find out what we need to do to ensure that the rules are followed. We set the rules as the city of Montclair, and not have somebody come in and dictate to us what we can and can't do. We really need to be proactive instead of reactive. And the rules to keep this dispensaries in compliance is very important. It's here to stay, and there's nothing else we can do but to be proactive. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Lopez, how do you feel about marijuana dispensaries? And if you support them, how do you plan to regulate them? You have 2 minutes.
You know, my position on marijuana has evolved, and it's still evolving. Let's face it, it is now legal in the state thanks to Prop 47. I initially voted against 47, but here we are. I'm on the losing end of a battle here with respect to that issue. So now, as a potential elected official, we have to grapple with the issue and get in accordance and get in compliance with law. One, I congratulate Montclair PD recently for the raids, if you will, that they accomplished. Because as of right now, dispensaries and marijuana is still illegal within city limits. And I will say that I am in favor of a very strict use for medical purposes. I know Dr. Lawley, who owns the old, 5050 San Bernardino Avenue, his clinic there, He wants the ability to go ahead and dispense marijuana to his veterans. I'm not opposed to that at all. I've always been in favor of medicinal marijuana uses, and even in pill form, or if they want to smoke it, who am I to tell them not to? Especially our veterans. After all, they put their life on the line for us, or we're willing to do so. But we have to look at all ramifications. We got to regulate it. We got to make sure it's properly taxed, it's not abused. Got to make sure we don't have an illegal hauling in and hauling out. I don't want us to be the magnet for marijuana dispensaries when no one else around us is currently doing it. So there's a lot to look at, investigate, but I'm open to possibly the idea. I'm not going to be totally closed-minded on it. Let's see what there is, because I think Trish might be right. There probably is money to be made there, and if indeed, since I'm an advocate of looking for other sources of revenue stream, we may have to look at that. But in the meantime, I'm cautious.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Martinez, how do you feel about marijuana dispensaries? If you support them, how do you plan to regulate them?
In fact, the last bust in Montclair that I'm sorry, no, it wasn't. It was a few busts ago, a raid, if you will. There were 400 plus folks pulling up to go buy their marijuana, their cannabis, while the raid was going on. This is in the presence of police officers. They didn't care. It's unconscionable that we would continue to allow this to exist, this black market in our city. We need to regulate it. So all in favor, aye. And we have the ability to direct where these dispensaries will be. We have the ability to tax it at what we would like to see being taxed. I've been to several workshops on this very issue. And I think that we're well informed in our city about how to obtain local control and how to utilize it. And I think we do a great job here if that was the case, and I think the revenue is much needed.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Henry, how do you feel about marijuana dispensaries? If you support them, how do you plan to regulate them?
Well, I'm sure we have a great police department. And regulating them would be to periodically go and check to make sure that they're following the guidelines, making sure that they're within the state and the city guidelines, and that's pretty much all that I have at this moment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rue, how do you feel about marijuana dispensaries? If you support them, how do you plan to regulate them?
I oppose them. I voted against Prop 64. I believe it's the wrong direction for our state and for our communities. These are all cash businesses. Let me emphasize, all cash businesses. Whenever you have that kind of cash hanging around a business, it becomes a magnet for crime. I've talked to residents near the Brooks Industrial Area, which is the area the city is looking at putting them in. There's a very nice housing development there. One of the gates backs up to Brooks Street. I've talked to just about every resident in that development. Without question, almost every single one of them said they oppose it because they're worried about what it will do in their neighborhood. There's lots of ways cities could get revenue. You could have a card club if you wanted to. You could make it legal. Many cities have. The question is, do you want to do that? As far as medical marijuana, I am on the Health Services Alliance Board. I'm the chair. Dr. Lally is trying to bring a veterans clinic in and doing a good job of it. I would also say this, that if we feel strongly about this, let the residents vote on it. I'm not buying the rationale that in November of 2016, they voted on it in the state. People would have, repealed the bullet train at that time. Let residents vote whether we want a dispensary, whether we want grow houses. Put the statistics and the facts of the figures out there, and let the residents of this community have a say in an election based on just that issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This next round of questioning will be individual questions, and I'm going to begin with Ms. Martinez. As Montclair's most recently elected council member, what do you feel you have accomplished in the last 4 years, and what do you hope to accomplish if reelected? You have 2 minutes.
What I've accomplished in the last 4 years is being present, being available, having been a very big part of the progress of the specific North Montclair Downtown Specific Plan, also the Gold Line coming to Montclair, been active in the utilities. I now chair the policy committee for the Inland Empire Utility Agency. I am on the executive board of the Inland Empire League of California Cities. I have been named, like I said, by Chaffey College as their Alumni of the Year 2015, recognized in my activism. And I've put education on the city council and been very, very active in such, building the bond between the schools, the school boards, and the city. I have also maintained my volunteerism, which is very important to me with the senior center. And matter of fact, I made parfaits yesterday for the seniors while they got facials. And I remain committed to all of my civic duties, my volunteerism, and first and foremost, being a good mom all the while.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Henry, this next question is for you. When preparing for your candidacy, did you meet with city staff to learn about the issues affecting the city?
You know what? I didn't meet with many city council members. When I ran, it was at the very last moment when I heard about the seat, when I heard about the council member seat, and it was close to the deadline, and I was encouraged to run. So that's what I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Lopez, this next question is for you. Your resume does not show experience working in a city-like environment. Why do you think you will do a good job in the city of Montclair administration?
Repeat the question, please. I'm sorry.
It says, your resume does not show experience working in a city-like environment. Why do you think you will do a good job in the city of Montclair?
You know, yeah, I don't have the pedigree of 20 plus years on a city council and being an elected official for that long. I did serve on the County Vector Control Board for 2 years, appointed by County Supervisor Kurt Hagman. And in those 2 years, I served with Carol on there at the time. In those 2 years, we managed to bring in the city of Upland, the entire city of Upland, the unincorporated area of San Antonio Heights, and a little bit of El Toloma into the district to give them a higher quality level of service at a cheaper cost to the city of Upland, get them quicker response times than they were getting with the county. And that was something that I led the charge on. So I'm plenty capable, even though I don't have an official title behind me, of getting things done and working with other cities and other agencies. I remind you that I got the endorsement of IEUA board member Katie Parker, which represents Upland and Montclair, Chino Hills Vice Mayor Cynthia Moran, Chino Hills Councilman Brian Jost, Upland Mayor Debbie Stone, the former Mayor Ray Musser, current members of the council Gino Filippi, Sid Robinson, Carol Tim. All these are folks that I have worked with, gotten things accomplished and done for the benefit of the residents on a project that we were working on. So I'm plenty capable, even though I don't have a resume that says City of Montclair this or that, I'm plenty capable of working across city and boundary lines to get the good for the betterment of residents and our constituents done and accomplished, and I would bring that value to the Montclair City Council if elected.
Okay, great, thank you. Ms. Orozco, this next question is for you, similar to Ms. Henry's. When preparing for your candidacy, did you meet with city staff to learn about the issues affecting the city?
City staff, I have not. I will be doing that. I can be doing that. I met with many residents as walking through the city and going door to door. They've let me know their concerns. They have given me information, and that's why I want to continue to run. I came to run again. The city members, no, I have not, but I plan on doing that. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Mr. Rue, this last question is for you. In your candidate statement, you discuss your proven leadership abilities. As an incumbent, how do you respond to council candidates that state that the city council needs new ideas and a new direction?
I would challenge those who say we need new ideas and new direction to attend council meetings, to show up, to be involved and engaged, to get involved in volunteering in the community, to get involved in doing things where they can see the direction that we're going. Every year, this council decides direction we're going to do based on our strategic and specific plans. We decide much of that new vision based on where we see things going. An example, when I was started on this council, one of the big issues is the Alameda Corridor East. Getting grade separations. We've done that. The new vision now, which I've been pushing, as well as many on the council, has been to transform our Montclair North into a mini LA Live. I think if you look at the direction the city is going, we're always doing something new, something innovative, something different. We were among the first in the area to envision transit-oriented development, where other cities were holding back, afraid to do that. We took the step forward and said, yes, we helped work to create the Paseos, which has been successful beyond our wildest dream. Innovation is when I started talking about the Gold Line, people were telling me, you'll never get it across the LA County line, don't worry about it, it'll never happen. If it stops in Claremont, we can just drive over there. And I didn't take no for an answer. I said, we're going to be innovative, we're going to get it across the county line, we're going to serve our residents in this community and serve our region. And I think that's how I'd answer that question. Thank you.
Very good, thank you for your time. Okay, so this next round of questions begins with Mr. Lopez. Of the current candidates running for council, who do you feel you would work best with if elected?
All of them. And that'd be my obligation. If elected, I'd have to work with the other person that was elected along with me, in addition to the remaining 3 members of the council, regardless of who it would be. And you know, I know mostly everyone at this table and even on the council, maybe with the exception of Ms. Henry. Don't know her well enough, but I'm sure we could get to know each other and work well. I don't sense an angst of an angry or evil bone in her body, so I think we can be conducive. That's one thing I've liked about the field of candidates the past 4, 2, and present elections, is because we've had people who were at least willing to sit at the table, come to some agreement and compromise instead of being hard-nosed and unwilling to at least bring options to the table. And that's what I would bring. And I genuinely can work with every single one of them. And like, I'll make the same pledge I did 4 years ago and 2 years ago. Whoever wins the day after Election Day, I'll be calling you. Should I be elected as well? And let's do lunch and let's hit the ball rolling, hit the ground rolling.
Very good, thank you. Ms. Martinez, of the current candidates running for council, who do you feel you would work best with if elected?
I work really well with Bill Rue.
Okay, is that it? Okay. Ms. Henry, of the current candidates running for council, who do you feel you would work best with if elected?
Well, if elected, I don't really know. I'm new to everyone, so I really don't know. But I would think Trish, if I had to say specifically. But then again, it would be all, because I really don't know anyone. I've just met Trish and just know just a little bit more of her than I do everyone else. But I think I could get along with everyone, with all that being said.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rue, of the current candidates running for council, who do you feel you would work best with if elected?
I have a history of working together collaboratively. Part of my background is I do public policy and governmental affairs for a living. That's my profession. in that profession, I have to work with a variety of people on a variety of issues, people who may not normally ever get along with each other, but I can bring them to the table so we can discuss issues. I've worked for the last 4 years with Councilmember Martinez fairly well. Over the years, Mr. Lopez and I have worked in some political areas fairly well. Ms. Orozco and I, through the school district, I know some of her work, she knows some of mine through some mutual friends. I've yet to meet fully Ms. Henry, but if she's elected, I hope to get to know her, and I would encourage anybody to stay involved with this community and be active as volunteers. I go back to something I learned in elementary school, and that is, let us come together and reason. And I think that's what we need on a city council. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, if it falls down, just stand up and don't. Well, city staff will take care of this. Yeah. If it falls over, city staff will pick it up and put it back, I think. So, if not, me and Chris will put it up there for you. So, Ms. Orozco, of the current candidates running for council, who do you feel you would work best with if elected?
I think everybody up here has done a great job in what their background is. Some with the city and some outside of the city. I think that we all have positive intentions to help the city flourish. And I think that I feel that I can work with anybody. I work for a school district. I manage 9 employees in my office, all different personalities. I can get along with anybody. Anybody up here is welcome. I can work with them. I look forward to working with them and have an open mind and make sure that we're all have the same goal, the same values, so that we can get the job done. I think we would do a great job. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so this next round of questioning begins with Ms. Martinez. What volunteer work have you done in the city of Montclair?
Where to begin? I've worked with the Senior Center for 12, 13 years. I have been a member of the Women's Club of Montclair for the last 13 years, and we've done all kinds of things with that organization. Worked with United Way. We've raised money for gloves for our fire department. We're always working on some different endeavor. I've worked with Our Lady of Lourdes, Catholic school and church, as the liaison to not just the community, but as a parent volunteer when my daughter was attending the school there. And I remained as a liaison even after my daughter graduated. She's now at Montclair High School. I have been very active in the Chamber of Commerce. I've also been an ambassador to the Chamber of Commerce with my personal business. And I've been very active in the extracurricular activities that call upon my duty, just everyday activities with the city. Anywhere anyone needs me, I'm there. I don't usually say no.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Henry, what volunteer work have you done in the city of Montclair?
Well, I've done volunteer work with the Montclair High School band in 2003. I was the president for the Montclair High School band. And that was work that I have done, that I did. And I haven't done anything more than that, but I do see things that, well, and then I do feel like I was an inspiration for the skate park that was put up years ago when my children were younger than what they are. I went and I asked, I said, well, what is there for the youth to do in this city? And I forget the gentleman's name, but he was a short, stocky guy, and he was working in the rec department. And after I asked him what was for the youth to do, he said, well, we don't have that right now, but we're working on it. And that I do have to say Montclair has been good for doing that. When you request certain things, they were good in that department. And about 5, 8 years later, I saw the skate park. So, you know, I do have concern for the community. And whatever there is, I have no problem with working for the city and for the citizens in the city. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Rue, what volunteer work have you done in the city of Montclair?
I have been a lifetime volunteer in this community. And by the way, Ms. Henry, thank you for being president with the Montclair Band Boosters. My mother did that many, many years ago, so I'm glad to see it's in good hands. My parents taught me early on about volunteerism. It's the way you give back in our society. As long as I can remember, I've been a volunteer. Specifically in this city, I will focus in the last 20 years or so. I've been a volunteer with our Christmas tree event, the Christmas tree lighting, at the Halloween event. I've been at the Memorial Day event. I've been at the Easter Fun Day event. I've been at our celebrations in the park. When it started, it's now evolved into other things, but I was there early on, and I remember helping carry ice to the different vendors who needed it. I have been involved on a regional level and a direct benefit to Montclair with the Community Action Partnership of San Bernardino County, where we work with our low-income residents to help provide them with food, rent vouchers, gasoline vouchers so that they can get to work. I have been involved with the Assistance League of the Foothills Community and their backpack program, which helps provide students right here in the city of Montclair with backpacks to make up the gap between the free meal program and getting back to school on Monday, because many of those students have nothing between Friday afternoon and Monday morning. I'm very active with the Ontario Montclair, well now, Youth and Family Engagement Branch of the West End YMCA. I have been on the board, and I just left about 3 years ago, of the Foothill Family Shelter, where we were helping with homeless families right here in the city of Montclair. I think I have a lifetime of involvement in direct activities here in the city. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Orozco, what volunteer work have you done in the city of Montclair?
When my kids were younger, I have 4 boys, and they were involved in baseball. They were on 4 different teams, so I was at the park all the time, volunteering in the snack bar, helping with all the activities with baseball. I am part of a couple of groups that we supply backpacks to the students with school supplies in the beginning of a school year. We adopt families during Christmas. We give food at the food bank. We collect food items for Thanksgiving and give it to the families that are in need. And at Christmas, we adopt a family, and we give gifts for the kids to make sure they're not without. So this is how I assist our community. We have 10 schools within the Montclair City. And we have 32 schools with Ontario Montclair School District. And I make sure that I am involved with our 10 schools particularly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lopez, what volunteer work have you done in the city of Montclair?
You know, with a lot of volunteer activities or events, it takes money to fund them. And our family, my father and I, my father's an elected member of the Monte Vista Water District. He's been there for 15 years, which, by the way, the Monte Vista Water District has some of the lowest water rates in the region, mind you. We have financially sponsored and assisted our Montclair High girls softball team. We have helped many families in need around the holidays, both Thanksgiving and Christmas, by providing meals and sponsoring families. I myself have been a member of either the Montclair and Upland Chambers of Commerce, either simultaneously or alternating times. I'm currently an alternate member of the Kingsley Elementary School Site Council. Is the little guy awake, or is he asleep? He's in the back. I'm that little guy's Little League coach in T-ball. I coach 3 to 5-year-olds, the youngest of Montclair's residents. I'm going on my 2nd year doing so. I took a leave of absence for the campaign, but once the election's over, I'll be hitting the ground running and coaching little kids like him in Montclair. I may have had some of your kids the past couple seasons, and it's been an honor. But in addition to that, you know, I've served on our Youth Accountability Board when I was 18, 19 years old in Montclair, our Fire Commission. My gosh, I mean, I kind of shy away from these questions because it sounds like we're bragging, and I really don't like that because it just brings attention to ourselves instead of bringing attention to the residents. But nonetheless, I mean, we all have deep roots in this city, and we've all done a variety of things, but that's just a little bit of the background as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this next round of questions will begin with Ms. Henry. How would you encourage new businesses to move to the city of Montclair, and what do you see as the future of the business community over the next 4 years?
Well, to encourage new businesses, make it more, well, as I've been hearing, like small business friendly, make it friendlier. And that's basically what I could say, is just make the city much more friendlier, business friendlier. It's talk that is not business friendly. So try to make it much more friendlier.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Mr. Rue, how would you encourage new businesses to move to the city of Montclair, and what do you see as the future of the business community over the next 4 years?
I would say that to attract new businesses to the city of Montclair, we have to tell them about our premier location. We are right on the 10 freeway, one of the busiest freeways, not just in Southern California, but across the nation. It is an inland port, bringing people and goods back and forth, and it's right here in Montclair. We have easy access to the 210 freeway. We have easy access to the 60. We have the Metrolink. We also have the Gold Line into North Montclair, which is being revitalized. We're bringing in those businesses based on the fact that they want to be there. They want to be close to transportation uses. We're bringing in business based on the fact that transit-oriented development brings in business. But we need to continue to do the outreach to them by going to the shopping center conference, which this city is always represented and does a good job. And we brought in several businesses, including a car wash in the South End. We heard they wanted one. We pushed to get one. We do need to be more business friendly. That's something I've talked about, and that's something we've been doing. We've been working with business to try to make sure that Montclair is a business friendly place. If we weren't, we wouldn't be getting a new AMC theater. We wouldn't be getting a new sports bar. We wouldn't be getting some of the things we're getting in the Montclair Plaza. We also have done a lot of outreach to business. I've talked to businesses to see what they're doing, what they need to survive, and I brought those back to the city manager and to those in the city who are responsible for that so that we can help those businesses get a leg up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Roscoe, how would you encourage new businesses to move to the city of Montclair, and what do you see as the future of business community over the next 4 years?
I would give more incentives to the businesses that hire high school students, develop a program there, give them a trade, help them. Not everybody is able to go to college or want to go to college. So we need to bridge that gap between the students at Montclair High School and other high schools to give them an incentive to learn a trade with the different businesses surrounding the city. Also, give an incentive to those companies that are here that have longevity, that have shown their support to the city, have stayed in the city. Also, provide them for a reason to grow, to get a second building, from North Montclair all the way to South Montclair. I think South Montclair is very underdeveloped. They have been neglected for a long time, and I think that if we move, everybody's talking about the GO line, everybody's talking about the Montclair place, but nobody is looking at south of Montclair. We need to give some incentives to start building down there, and we're the gateway to other cities. And so I think it's important to provide these businesses to grow also throughout the city and not just north of Montclair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lopez, how would you encourage new businesses to move to the city of Montclair, and what do you see as the future of business community over the next 4 years?
In 2 minutes, right?
Yes.
I'll try.
Okay.
The past 10 months, I have a client who I've been the membership recruiter for a local chamber of commerce. And in those 10 months, it was my job to work with the city of Upland and act as a liaison between the city and the Chamber of Commerce itself. And we were given a list by the city of all businesses that had recently submitted and paid for and got approved their business licenses. And we would then go to those businesses, welcome them, give them a welcome packet, show them what the chamber offered, show them what the city departments offered them, and we would then foster a relationship from the get-go the moment they opened up. And I think we need to have a better recruitment program in Montclair. Now listen, I'm not saying that the city's doing a horrible job at bringing in business, because they are. And I do agree with Bill in the sense that if we were doing a horrible job, we wouldn't have the AMC Theater coming in, which I applaud, and I have been consistently applauding the council and the city in that regard on all levels. However, smaller businesses, we still hear issues and concern over signage issues and the use of banners, temporary banners. Let's ease those restrictions. That's one example. I've been looking at South Montclair for the longest time, the past couple of times I ran, and that's why I'm a big proponent of annexing those properties. They're larger lots. Let's bring in either make them more industrial and business use lots, or we build housing to make housing more available in the city. With larger lots, we can build more, and with it is an increased property tax base. In addition to that, we need to do what Upland does as well. Let's offer loans to new businesses. If they hire Montclair residents for 2 to 3 years, those loans get forgiven or reduced. I think we need to implement something similar to that in Montclair as well.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Martinez, how would you encourage new businesses to move to the city of Montclair, and what do you see as the future of the business community over the next 4 years?
Well, I'm always excited to give a business card that says Christine Caldwell and Mike Diaz. I keep a couple on me. Say those are our planners in the city, and they would love to talk to you about the business that you have. And I excite those business owners with our TOD, our transit-oriented district, enlightening them with the progress that we've made. I discuss with them how our city manager and staff regularly meet with CIM Group, which is the owners of the Montclair Place, and are always looking for innovation and new business. And I just think right now we're in the prime of economic development, and we have the Gold Line coming. We don't have really anything negative to say about the locale of planting your business right here in Montclair. It's going to be lucrative if you do so. That's what I say, and I stand by that. I think that we're heading in the right direction with our specific plans, and we have a very new early stage of a specific plan for the place as well, and that's all about bringing business to Montclair. And also, I always tell them, join the chamber.
Good plug. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this next round of questions is for everybody, and this will begin with Mr. Rue. A little over a month ago, little Johnny Macias was killed in a school crosswalk. What is your position about crossing guards in Montclair?
The city of Montclair has had a very good policy on crossing guards in the city. We've had a very strong policy. What most people don't realize is that the city pays for those crossing guards. We have to pay for that. Not the school district, the city. State law doesn't require us to pay for crossing guards. So yes, we do need to pay for crossing guards. We do need to do a study. There's actually a state law that says we have to do a study to warrant if that section of town needs a crossing guard. We have to follow that law. No one can put a price on a child. The question we have to ask ourselves for the future is, no matter where we put a crossing guard, what happens when that crossing guard is killed? We've had crossing guards killed in California. We need to be very vigilant on this, and we need to complete the study that is required by the state. And I think we need to work much more closely with the school district in finding ways to help fund them. It cannot be the total responsibility of the city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Orozco, a little over a month ago, little Johnny Macias was killed in a school crosswalk. What is your position about crossing guards in Montclair?
First of all, my heart and my prayers go out to little Johnny Macias' family. That was a very difficult thing for his family and the kids at Vernon Middle School. I feel that it is important to have crossing guards. I know that the crossing guards, there are 15 crossing guards in the city of Montclair, and they're usually stationed at the elementary schools because we believe that the middle schools, the kids are old enough to know to look both ways, but it's really not the kids 100% of the time. The crosswalk was there. I think that if there was a crossing guard there, this might have been prevented. It's a horrible tragedy. Nobody wants to lose a child. Nobody should lose a child in that manner or in any manner at all. I feel that I do propose if elected as city council, I do propose that I would use some of my pay to put a crossing guard there on the corner of Vernon and San Bernardino to prevent something from happening again, and also in San Jose at the other middle school, Serrano Middle School, because even though this happened at a middle school where really we don't have a crossing guard, I think it is needed. A child's life is never about money. It should be about his life. And again, my heart goes out to his family. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez, a little over a month ago, little Johnny Macias was killed in a school crosswalk. What is your position about crossing guards in Montclair?
I have met with representatives of the family, and I've offered my condolences to them directly. It is an unfortunate situation that should not have happened. And perhaps, although there's still an investigation yet to be released, perhaps this was the complete responsibility of the driver. But we will wait for the full investigation to come out before we render a complete opinion on that. I will mention that there is a Safe Routes to School funding and a series of grants made available to schools to pay for lighting improvements on pavement, signage, and many times it helps pay for crossing guards. That is a component of some of the funding available to cities and or school districts in need of crossing guards. I think we need to look into that. If elected, I guarantee you I will look into that for the city. El Camino Elementary School, which is on 6th Street in Benson, as well as Anthony Munoz Park and their walkways, they qualified for these grants. They got some of the lighted improvements on the cement and pavement. They got added sidewalk, expanded sidewalks. They got added signage at the school, and they got a little bit of cash to help with some of its safety and guarding at the school as well. I think if they were able to do that at El Camino Elementary, we could do it at Vernon, we could do it at Montera, we can do it at Kingsley, and why not give it a try instead of knocking it? Let's try, let's seek those funds, let's get it. It's worth it given the fact that we lost one of our youngest residents in town.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Martinez, a little over a month ago, little Johnny Macias was killed in a school crosswalk. What is your position about crossing guards in Montclair?
With all due respect, please forgive me, but I've been admonished by the city attorney not to comment as an elected official on that matter, and so please respect that position that I take, and my heart does go out to the family.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Henry, a little over a month ago, little Johnny Macias was killed in a school crosswalk. What is your position about crossing guards in Montclair?
Well, with due respect, my condolences to the family, but I did meet his mother as well, and her biggest concern to me was not that it was just a crossing guard there. It was like if there could have been a light there, more awareness of something flashing to let traffic know that a student is crossing at the time. And so far as the budget, I have no idea at this time, but if I'm elected, that is something that I would look into to see. And I am aware that we do have light crossings, which some of them are very sufficient, but then I see some that aren't as bright as others. I have seen some coming up Palos Verde, right? I can't recall the name of the school, but right off of Benson and Palos Verde. Now they have one that is very bright, and you can't miss it. And the one here on Monte Vista, by Monte Vista and Canoga, it works, but sometimes crossing there, some of the drivers can't see the light. It's dim during the daylight. It needs to be brighter. So that is a concern. And that is something that I would work with as well if I'm elected. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is the last round of questions, and it will be individual questions per candidate. So, and I'll begin with Mr. Lopez. You were appointed to the West County Vector Control. How did your appointment end?
It ended on a mutual agreement that we, Supervisor Hagman and I, we had a goal, like I said, of including the city of Upland into the annexed area of the West Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District. After that was accomplished, Supervisor Hagman and I sat. He felt the job was accomplished. We then agreed to put another member on the board who can accomplish maybe some other areas of concern regarding Chino Hills, and a Chino Hills representative was appointed to the board to help address some issues regarding Prado Dam and those issues. So I am proud of my service on the Vector Control District. I have no regrets with respect to them, and I think that it was a 2 years well spent, and 2 years put to good use to benefit some other residents and provide them better quality of service at a savings.
Okay, thank you. This next question is for Mr. Rue. On your campaign walk flyer, you claimed you were endorsed by California Organization of Police and Sheriffs. Who is that organization, and how did they endorse you?
It is an organization that is statewide, made up of members of the law enforcement community. They sent me a questionnaire. I filled out the questionnaire. The questionnaire asked about your attitude and what you feel about public safety. And I answered that questionnaire. They liked what I said. They said that I would have their endorsement, and that's how I was able to get it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Martinez, this next question is for you. With the rising cost of the California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS, how do you propose to maintain fiscal stability in Montclair?
Legalize cannabis. That
Okay.
is my answer, short.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Henry, this question is for you. As a new candidate for public office, what qualities do you have that make you a better choice for city council than the other candidates?
What qualities do I have
That make you a better
to work
choice.
with youth? Well, not only that I am a parent, but I have worked with the youth. This is a part of my being. I used to actually teach dance for the youth for over 3 years for the city of Los Angeles. So I do have experience working with the youth. And my background as in paralegal family law, I, see certain things. I've seen certain cases where children have gone through things. And I'm just compelled to be a venue for them. And I would like to do not only make sure that their lives are safe in a safe situation, but also artistic things with children. So my past history from working with the children, I believe that makes me a great candidate to work with the children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Orozco, in your candidate statement, you mentioned that certain parts of the city are underdeveloped. What is your proposal to develop these areas of the city, and how do you propose to fund these development improvements?
Well, the south part of Montclair is what I am particularly speaking of, and how to use funds or how to create funds is create jobs, create companies to come in, businesses to come in. With businesses, we create revenue. With revenue, we can develop more the south end, the south side of Montclair. It is important we always speak of the north side and how we're focusing on the mall and the Gold Line, and that's great. I applaud the city council and the city manager and everybody involved. However, we are neglecting the south side. We have many, many homes in the residents down there that do not have a grocery store. They do not have a park that they can take their kids. What I've learned is they're going to Chino to take their kids to the park. They're going to the businesses in Chino. So I think that we should develop more the South Side to keep our residents, to keep our funding within Montclair and not have it go outside the city. So I think the revenue needs to come from the new businesses, and I think that we'll be okay, and it will develop and beautify the South Side of Montclair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this final round is opportunity for candidates to give your closing statements. We will begin with Ms. Martinez on the west, and then we will come this way. Ms. Martinez, you now have 3 minutes for your closing statement.
Okay, I just want to thank you once again for coming tonight, and just say that in addition to continuing doing what I love most, which is serving the people of Montclair, I promise to give you intrinsic value that I believe makes me your best choice for Montclair City Council. Those values are essential to good leadership. Those will be, 1, I will put God first. I will lead by example. I will never compromise my integrity. I will respect everyone's differences and I will embrace them. I will remain open-minded. I will make a difference. I will be available and be present. I will continue my volunteerism. I will learn from my mistakes. I will play well with others. And those are my intrinsic values that I can promise you, not these unilateral promises. No new taxes, no, I can't do that, but I can promise you those things for sure. I want to thank everybody again for coming out, and I respectfully ask that not only consider me as your vote, but please just vote. That is so important. Exercise your right to vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lopez, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you all for attending, and those watching either online or on TV. We appreciate it, those of us candidates that are here. I respectfully ask for your consideration and vote, whether you're voting by mail or voting on November 6th. You know, I have been here before, and I'm not the type of person to give up easily or simply been told to wait your turn and stand at the back of the line and it'll come. But I am a scrapper, I am a fighter, but at the same time, I'm not the type of person, I am a pragmatic candidate that will not shoot a hole in their own canoe to prove a point. You need to get to the magic number of 3 on a council to work with folks to accomplish something. And I feel I can generally work with everyone on this table and the remaining council members that are either on the council and not in the audience and not here tonight, or the new ones to be installed and elected. We can, for the good of the city, get something accomplished. That would be my goal as an elected official. Again, it's not a one-woman or one-man show. It is a 5-team mutual effort that has to be accomplished in order for the city to move forward. You know, you cannot drive the city forward looking in the rearview mirror for yesterday's solutions. And I'm not saying that the city is in bad hands. It's not. And I've publicly been to city council meetings where I've applauded many of the council's actions. But it is time to look for someone who meets the demographics, the new vision of the city, that can take the city to the next level it deserves. And I feel respectfully that I am that candidate. I will bring the zest, the energy, the experience in my business community contacts and my professional contacts, my proven dedicated commitment as a volunteer and a homegrown boy here in Montclair. I bring that all to you in the city of Montclair. I ask for your vote and consideration for the betterment of us all. And I thank you again for your time and consideration. This city's been good to our family, and I intend to be good to the city in return. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Ms. Orozco, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Over the years, the city of Montclair has undeniably made much progress towards realizing its full potential. Nevertheless, there remains much need for emphasis in developments that address other overlooked groups and aspects of the community. We need to work towards broadening our focus more actively. We need to increase our efforts in sustainability and to better reap the benefits of self-sufficiency and security for all residents. We can best enjoy our communities and families when we know the city's basic operational resources remain responsibly managed, abundant, affordable, and working in harmony with the environment. Let's continue to maximize the city's infrastructure to optimize accessibility, efficiency, and organization for our city. I propose to beautify and rename our park that is south of Montclair, the Essex Park, in honor of Mayor Paul Eaton. My goal is to provide a safe park for members of our community south of Montclair that have been overlooked for years. We have put all focus on the north side of Montclair with the GO line in Montclair Place. It's evolved and beautiful, and I applaud that. And let's beautify all of Montclair. At the same time, may we always keep the welfare of our elderly citizens a priority. Our seniors need us more now after having contributed so much of their life to our community. Let's provide a farmer's market in different parts of Montclair to ensure we don't miss any of our important members of the community. Let's work hard to strengthen the systems in place for our youngsters with the ultimate goal of assisting them with the trade and working together with the businesses surrounding Montclair. Not every child wants to go to college, but they do want to be productive members of society. And we can help them by connecting them with businesses that can instill a trade. We can build confidence in our youth by supporting them so that they can support themselves. With all these goals in mind, I truly believe we can be intentional about designing a community we all want to live in. Let's flourish by ensuring all voices are heard and all needs are addressed. Finally, if elected, I propose to use part of my salary as a councilwoman to provide a crossing guard at the corner of San Bernardino and Vernon and San Jose in front of Serrano Middle School. I offer this challenge to all other council members. When this is divided by 5, it is a minimal amount. Let's do this. Please vote for me on November 6th, and thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Mr. Rue, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. And I will say that I did not vote for the 55% salary increase, and I've already pledged I won't take it. If the city chooses to use that for crossing guards, that's their business. I'm a lifetime resident of this community, a product of this community, and by this community. My mother reared 5 children alone, so I know what it is like to struggle, dream, and achieve success. I am the first member in my family to graduate from high school, right here at Montclair High School. I am the first member in my family to be accepted to a college and to graduate from college, next door at the University of Laverne. Proof that a strong family environment, good values, and lots of hard work can still pay off. Right now, California, and indeed all of our communities, face some of their biggest challenges in decades. To confront those challenges head on, we don't need on-the-job training or getting up to the speed of the learning curve or trying to get to know the issues. We need experience to continue to push us forward. I have that experience earned by a lifetime of service to this community. I am supported by Assemblymember Freddie Rodriguez, Senator Connie Leyva, and many, many others. I'm proud and honored to have been endorsed by our late Mayor Paul Eaton and endorsed by our current Mayor, Ginger Eaton. I have the support of our education community, business, and labor communities. I also have the established relationships with a host of officials in both Sacramento and Washington, D.C. Most importantly, I am supported by the families of our community. They realize that to fulfill our destiny, we are not to be divided and subdivided into groups along lines of race, creed, or nationality, but that we are one people, one community, all deserving of respect, dignity, and equality. It is that simple, it is that profound. They, along with me, know that our best days are not behind us, but stretch out before us. I chose to enter public service as I was taught from an early age that public service is the rent you pay for the space you take up on earth, the way to give back. I believe that public service is fidelity to something higher, the ideals for which generations of Americans have fought, marched, and died. I believe that public service is not a sacrifice, but a distinct privilege, something noble, an opportunity to serve as stewards of those ideals and to advance them in the place I call home. I ask you on November 6th to vote for someone who will continue to unite this community, who will work for the good of everyone who calls Montclair home, and most importantly, to vote for someone who has been tried and tested, someone with experience. I ask you to vote for me, Bill Rue. Thank you, and may God bless.
Thank you. Ms. Henry, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, yes, I would work for the people. It would be for the citizens of Montclair who has the concerns and the issues. I would work to try to see their ideas, to foresee those. And small businesses, I believe small businesses here that already exist in Montclair deserves a chance to exist as well. And so far as with the dream of everyone wants to see the goal line come through, I would love to see that as well. And I know there was something mentioned about a hotel. You know, we need something for the venues, for the new theater and the new concert theater. And I can see a vision for a hotel as well. It's north in Montclair. It's not south, it is north. But I do have a very nice vision of a hotel. Specifically, they're right across from the Montclair Mall. There are 2 empty lots. I don't know if there's use for them at this time or not, but I can actually see a hotel there, bridging over from one side to the other, a bridge, and you can see the view of the city from both sides. And so far as South Montclair, I can see more visions of parks and stores there also as well, if this is what the citizens would like. So me, I'm more so for trying to help the citizens see their dreams for the city as well, the existing citizens as well, the residents here in Montclair as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, that ends the candidate forum. On behalf of the residents and businesses in Montclair, I want to thank each of the candidates for showing up tonight. I want to thank each of the candidates for actually running. I'm sure that takes a lot of personal sacrifice and effort and energy on your part leading up to the election, and I applaud you for that and making that effort. I'd like to thank the audience for providing the questions this evening. That was much enjoyable. Thank you for that. On behalf, want to actually remind you all to vote. I know the candidates all did. You can either send in your mail-in ballots, which mine already came in, so mail it out, or you can show up and vote on November 6th. If you need candidate information, there's some on the table that's between the 2 exits. You can grab that on your way out. The City Council Candidates Forum is hosted by the Montclair Community Activities Commission, as well as the Montclair Chamber of Commerce. The refreshments this evening were provided courtesy of the Women's Club of Montclair. And I want to thank you all for attending, and you're a great audience, and you're a great set of candidates. Thank you, and have a safe ride home.